We want to feel into the, like, you can even close your eyes and feel into the outer edges of your field, your toroidal field, all the way to the very center. And what you want to do is just enrich that field, feel the quality of it increasing, brightening, any dark spots clean, and flow away. So this might just be momentary, it might be temporary, but it's going to take root, um, the more you practice it, which is why I say I do it pretty much all day, every day. I might forget and get lost in thought. I may, get lost in the painting, or maybe I'm writing something, or maybe I'm carrying out the actions that naturally come along with changing my field. Um, hang on. So I'm carrying out so maybe like I get like this idea for a really cool painting, or I remember this feeling of being highly motivated to carry out a painting that I've done previously. Um, I just remember that, and I invite and amplify that feeling in my field, in the whole field. The feeling of having a place all to myself, the feeling of being of service to others, of people benefiting from my presence, of acknowledging and recognizing me. So the great things that I want to feel, I'm, you know, not just self-sourcing, but I'm radiating. The fountain that I talked about previously is now flowing, like creating, this great love. And, when I imagine a fountain, it's very free-flowing and unobstructed. And then when I envision or feel mine, it doesn't feel that way, or I don't see it in that way. Like in my actual body, it does feel a lot more limited. So it's, and my body's reacting uh, to this. Like my arms are shaking right now, or I'm shaking my arms, both. My arms are being shaken and I'm shaking my arms. I'm going with it, is what I'm saying. And I feel the tension around the base of my neck. And it's like, okay, how would I feel? And it's so like, and this is where it gets kind of tricky, I would say, because it feels like, I'm using the word feel a lot. But what I'm, feeling in my body and what's coming up in my mind is that I don't have a good reference point for what my body is like when I'm, pain free. When I microdose mushrooms, that's that feeling. But then, I come back to my physical body, and I want to, like, I know I want to work towards that, where I was just really free flowing, being myself and making, videos on TikTok that I enjoyed doing and making, and I enjoyed being that way, me, fully me, um, while making that video. So right now, I'm just kind of like allowing that to be the case. Because what I'm doing right now is kind of working counter to that. Um, and by that, I mean I'm explaining instead of simply radiating, if that makes sense. So, right, it's one thing for me to say, um, do this technique. It's one thing for me to do the technique, and it's another thing for me to talk about it. Although talking about it is part and parcel with it. I'm getting I'm constantly getting to that place, and my field is constantly enriching and improving, and that's exactly what I want. Because my body, resonating with discomfort is how, my surroundings at present don't reflect how I would like to feel. To live in a place that I own personally, um, that's mine and that's free of, you know, developmental childhood baggage. So, really, like the condo that I was, closing on previously in Forest Park was really nice. I really liked that. So I'm going to invite some of the feeling of it's like, it had like really good wood, um, frames and flooring. Um, it was right by the train station, and that was really nice. And then taking into account that while I am, informing how I would like my field to change and adapt to me, etc. I'm also taking into account I'm about to leave for Amsterdam, and so I am allowing some flexibility in that. I am allowing some flexibility in my vision. So there's my field now, and getting excited for the next 3 months, but like making sure not that I resonate with the place, the Airbnb that I'm going to be staying at, but if something better comes along, allowing that to be the case as well. Simply being like really prioritizing that my field, wherever my home lives in my field, that reflect how I feel living in my ideal environment. In my ideal environment. So I didn't say home, I didn't say apartment, I didn't say room, etc. Environment. So that no matter where I go, my toroidal field, my aura, my electromagnetic field, whatever, feels comfortable and safe, secure, adventurous, fun, um, enriching. And then, even remembering the times where it's like, oh man, I remember what it felt like when I had like a large sum of money come in. Um, and again, free flowing, like the idea comes in, but then it breaks up and I'm flowing it into my field. And I just like repeat that process over and over and over again. And I want to really drive home how it's about where these things live in your field. And really what I want to like impress, um, and where that nice groove into is my relationship with money, where that money goes, what I do with it. Where that money tends to live, is it hidden away? What's around it as well? I want to get really detailed and really multi-dimensional with this, so it's not just like the idea in my mind, but involving my body and involving the space around my body. So let's say um, more money comes in and it has a place to go, which is not, which is to say, um, that's awesome, because having a place for it to go, kind of like in the idea that it's already spent, how I like to think about it, so that I'm not becoming attached to money or to the idea of it, rather that um, it's currency, it's liquid, it's flowing, it's influx, I'm not saying influx, but like it is flowing to me and then towards something else, to me towards something else. Um, And then seeing, okay, so I just now, as I said that, felt around, how do I say this? My left side, uh, between and then behind. So I'm actually putting my arm there right now. Um, and I'm using the violet light, the violet flame to, soak into that space. So for me, where I felt money coming from, right, because it has somewhere to go, and as I envisioned having it go somewhere, it had to come from somewhere, and that's where, um, where like my fingertips are touching it right now. It's so strange. I actually feel it. This is pretty exciting. I mean, it is exciting. It's not pretty exciting. It's exciting. Um, so I'm feeling my left rib cage, my left side rib cage, and I'm feeling my left triceps. So behind my arm, maybe like 2 or 3 inches, like about 3 inches, maybe, in that space. And I feel something there. I feel like sensation there, which I would usually associate with pain from an old injury, from Afghanistan. So what's coming to mind right now is forgiveness. Immediately, what came to mind right now was forgiveness and feeling the energy of forgiveness in that space. So the left side, if you don't know about energy, is usually associated with the feminine side. And our relationship to money is usually associated to how we learn to relate to our mothers, right? Because money is nourishing, or it can be at least. Um, white, like liquid light energy coming into that space. And I want to add green for healing is the biggest thing. So it's a lot of, white light energy, and I'm seeing green and violet coming in there, some blues now. Um, and all that stuff is coming from above me. Or it's just like going up. It's not going up, but it's coming from, it's streaming down, which means it's streaming down from somewhere. So now I get curious about where that's streaming down from. And okay, so we stay focused here. So it's coming from above, and then I see like some darkness around there, around my top left side. So like left of my head, above, left of my head, but above, my traps shoulder, where the shoulder comes into the upper back, right? That joint, and then above that. So now I'm, illuminating that with that liquid light, pouring love into there as well, and watching it kind of like evaporate and smoke away. And now, as I'm doing that, like it's evaporating and smoking away. I'm kind of like waving it away. On the other, even further than that, out like further towards my like the outer limit of my field, I would think, is a lot more darkness. So now I'm like, whew, still flowing into that space where I feel like money comes from, allowing that to expand, to get bigger, and yet still stay full. Important. So you don't want to get bigger, but feel like it's empty, right? Because you can increase your capacity for receiving money and still not receive money, and that's super frustrating. Which comes up to where this kind of like smoke, dark cloud, dark black cloud was, where it was above my shoulder, left of my head. Um, right, that's frustration, that's anger, that's darkness, and feeling it like disperse. And then out further than that, I see, red eyes and darkness, and that's fine because I don't really give a shit because it can't really do anything to you, which may inspire fear because it's like, oh, now you're testing it. No, you are sovereign, you're holy, you're divine, and you just blast it with that loving white energy and feel it, like power wash it. You know, if you've ever seen a power washing video, how it just like blasts away dirt and grime. That's how you want to feel that any darkness within your field, like blasting away, and you just keeping it at like a constant pressure away from you. Any kind of like maybe hands that reach toward you just don't reach you. You can even like see, you know, golden strands of light energy wrap around its wrist and pulling it back, and, you know, tying it up, and then tying it up a lot and then securing it down. And then you can even push that out into like this pool of healing light energy, and like just throwing it in there, rolling it in and pushing it in there. And you know, seeing how it reacts to that light, and allowing it to just like sink down to the bottom and have that light, you know, we say transmute, really is, but that just means change the form and shape of this, you know, dark entity, and see what it changes into. Don't struggle, as it's trying to get free, but really feel like that the binds are secure, and add some other ones. That it doesn't have to be limited to what I say. Whatever just helps you feel like it's held securely, and it's just sinking lower and lower, and more of it is like, you know, peeling away. And what we get down to eventually, what we're, you know, if I'm giving you like the condensed version, if I'm, you know, spoiling it, I'm giving you some spoilers here. Uh, it's that, you know, behind all that darkness and the red eyes and all that stuff, it just peels away, and what you get inside is usually your inner child, maybe a being of light, an angel, whatever you want to call it. Oh, okay. Here's this thing that I used to be fearful of, that used to tease me, and you know, my inner mental police or bully or abuser, and just it's just sinking down to the bottom, and you see and maybe even feel compassion for this innocent thing that was caked in all this evil and darkness, and just, you know, it sinks further into, like, don't let up, you know, don't half-ass it, right? So just it's until it becomes very pure, until it becomes 100% purified. Just keep it going, sink further and further and further into light and love energy, maybe closer and closer to this high vibration, light energy. And it's just like going further, and as it gets closer to it, the vibrations start to like, you know, break it up and get into it, and it's like dispersing, or feeling like, you know, the vibrations, uh, penetrate into and through, as it like merges with this, you know, high intensity, high vibration energy, and sinks down. And all this while, more light energy is sinking into, bathing into, collecting into where you feel money comes from for you. And as it does so, it's now flowing into you. Since it's not just collecting over there, it's also flowing into you, and you get to direct it where you want to go. Maybe, you know, I would like to get a motorcycle finally. My nephew just got one. You know, I would like to be, a highly paid artist. So maybe, you know, art supplies, and I'm feeling the emotions, of creating paintings that I love creating, and being mindful of, you know, where the points of high tension are in my physical body. in my physical body. And for me, that's like around my left side neck, my right side, how do I say this, like upper chest where it meets the shoulder. I feel like that's really tight and constricted. So anywhere you feel constriction, tension, maybe even numbness in your body, allow those places, to open up, to relax, and to be filled with that same light energy. And remember that nourishing energy is not strictly related to money. That energy can, look like different ways. It can look like gift cards. It can look like, winning contests, the feeling of winning the lottery, actually winning the lottery, winning sweeps, like whatever. Like it doesn't don't discriminate where that money comes from, unless, you feel like perversion, So if you don't, if you don't want to make an OnlyFans, that's fine. Clean, feel wherever you feel that in your field. Like for me, that's left of my left thigh by maybe 3 feet. There's some darkness there. So there's more darkness there. And we want to just wash that away. Same process as we did before for the other dark being, and see this kind of I see a squatted down feminine figure, and what comes to mind is the prostitute archetype. So I know this is a part of me. This is a part of me that betrays my soul's purpose in order for things like instant gratification, but probably not what you're thinking. Betraying one's purpose for security now. I want the feeling of what we would do for money that would betray our principles for security right now, instead of having to go through difficulty or hardship, challenging moments with or as an exercise of faith, of increasing our faith. So when I say, fill that space, that being with that white light energy, allow that being to feel the love. Don't torture it. Don't be mean to it. Don't judge it, for sure. Understand and have compassion, because this is a part of you. And if you're beating up a part of you right now, you're manifesting that experience of beating yourself up later. And so, you feel these dark entities, with that live within your field. And I'm looking towards my right side now, and those, I see some running. Allow them relief. Allow them really deep love and compassion. That's oh shit, what they feel or what they think or how they react is, oh, I had it so wrong. Now I can relax. Now I can trust you to help me have my needs met, to help me feel loved. And just watch how your life changes. And again, practice this. Be in this feeling, in this energy. My field is, it's constantly flowing. So it goes up above your head, out, however wide, and then it comes back down in it's donut shaped, and comes back in through your first chakra. Your first chakra being that space in between your thighs, left to right, and front to back, in between your genitals. So that's the area of your first chakra. So that's where you want it to come in, and you want that space to feel very clean and secure. And you don't want to right now, even describing it, I might feel some shame or embarrassment, very lightly, but it's still there. I think within reason, I would say. But I do want to just, even however amount there is, I do want to extend a little bit of love to that area of acceptance, so that when the energy comes out of my heart space, out of my seventh chakra, and flows out around, down, and then back into my body, that wherever it's flowing out of and wherever it flows back into, and all the energetic channels in between are nice and clear, unblocked, unrestricted, free channels, open channels. And you're getting excited. You get to feel love in the way that you love to be loved. And you can allow that for yourself. And now that you're clearing out your field, space around you, becoming more aware of it, now you can, to a greater degree and greater frequency, see when something is in your field that maybe you don't want there, and then clear it out in the same way, the same exact way. Allow yourself good boundaries. And then if you ever, and just as like a pro tip, if you ever have something in your field that you feel like shouldn't be there and it's not going away, check back. Don't focus on this thing that's outside of you. Come back to how you feel within your body, closer to like the inside of your body. And I guarantee if something isn't leaving your field, you're going to feel fear closer to the inside of your body, in your center. And that's what you need to address. Not this, visual, imaginative representation, but the actual emotion that's within you. Okay, so just as I've been describing this, please drop a comment. Drop a comment, free and clear if you can't think of anything, enriched, anything that comes to, like, really, I would love to hear what came up for you and what you visualized and how you feel now. And I really do hope, like, just before I let you go, is, when I started meditating a few years ago, is like, I didn't just do the meditation and then, go back to normal life. What I would do is, not only would I feel the intention of like, okay, now it's time to meditate, and already start to get into that meditative space before I even sat down or laid down, but I would also extend that feeling, that presence, that awareness, that quality of presence into the rest of my day. And as I'm moving throughout my day, I'm checking back into that space. So not only is there a point of entrance into that meditative space, to that quality of being overall, like within my body, within my space, etc., but now I'm creating more entry points throughout my day. And so the seeds that I'm planting grow. There will be a big, a tree, let's say, during my usual meditative time. And then throughout the day, maybe there are smaller plants. Maybe one tree is a big oak tree where I usually meditate, let's say around 10 a.m. First thing that comes to mind. Or 8 p.m. is usually when I also meditate. Or, I'll get into that later, but it's a good video. So, big oak trees where you usually meditate, connect with yourself. And then, maybe small flowers, maybe a smaller lemon tree, or, a smaller tree of whatever. Not a big oak tree, but like smaller ones. And then, little ones. And then seeing where the weeds grow and pulling those out gently by the root. And then, discarding them, throwing them into like a bonfire. I usually, throw them into the violet flame, which is a technique that I've covered before. So definitely look into that. I'll see if I can link it into this video. But that's all I got for you for right now. Again, drop a comment, and I'll be coming out with more videos like this. So please, like and subscribe, hit the bell. Appreciate it.